mobility gives you an opportunity to create sort of an abstraction layer that's focused more on the user experience through a given process flow as opposed to a system of record, which is generally what's your brick and mortar. So our supply chain, if you want to think outside the distribution center, and I'll give you an example, is about our customers are professional contractors. The stuff they buy from us is not generally stuff you go on a website and you search and you price shop. It's a heavier technical sale. There's a large bill of material that's kind of agreed upon up front, and then their basic behavior is, I'm going to start this phase of this project on Tuesday. I need to release material off that contract. That's a very common thing that we do. So what do? We've been building that capability in sort of the e-com world, and now we're mobilizing the e-com functionality like that. And that mobile app is maybe consuming a whole set of services from legacy systems, which if they really are legacy, we wrapper them up and build services out of them. But there's also Oracle and SAP back there, which are perfectly good at serving all that up. That mobile experience can give you a 100% modern, competitive advantage experience for that customer to release material with real-time availability, pricing, ETA, and you didn't have to upgrade the back end really at all other than to maybe service enable it. So that's a big advantage that mobility brings. You can put some icing on the cake, and underneath maybe the cake is not so uniform.
Very good. I think I might go with that approach. Or my friend might.
Yeah.
Pastor, anybody else want to comment on that? I'm going to ask Rob another question, but as you pass the mic down, you can hijack it if you want. Boom.
So going back to that, again, I was talking about mobile solutions in enterprise more than mobile apps. Most of the companies, what we have seen in our experience, fail in their endeavor to get mobility into organizations is when they approach mobile solutions as apps. So we are all used to mobile apps in a consumer sense, where most of the time it's a self-contained application. Mobile solution in the enterprise space is totally a different ballgame. It's all about how do I leverage everything that I have built over the last 50 years, right? My existing legacy systems and all that. How do I make this mobile solution a nice front end, but make those workflows in the back end work? That is what is important. And that is where most of the enterprises, what we have seen in our experience, fail when they get into creating mobile solutions. So I think as Brad was talking about, that's where you got to look at your workflows, what you have in the back end, and then create that nicer front end workflows from a mobile application standpoint, but focus on what is in the back end. That is the crux of your mobile solution.
So
Yeah.
one short comment to that. This is why you should expect, in my opinion, a much higher ROI on mobile development for a solution, a problem you're trying to solve, than the modernization of a back-end system, which is often, as you know, very challenging to figure out how that's going to give you a return. But mobility, generally, you're gluing together a lot of pieces and parts into a really efficient process, and you get some of the best ROIs we see is the mobility space.
It's a great point. I want to add to that. We all understand that this mobile technology is changing. So we cannot sit tight and say, okay, let me wait for this to play out and see how the things work out, and then I'll jump in. Unfortunately, you're going to be too late. So at the same time, it may go against the normal common sense of building solutions to last. Unfortunately, in this technology and in this space where we are, you got to react. Time to market is of the essence. But please, we cannot try to build it and expect it to last for 10 years. But going back to what you were saying, at the same time, on the flip side, the payback period of the solutions you can expect within a matter of months or weeks versus what you are traditionally used to, 2, 3, 4 years. So when that is the payback period, I'm okay building a solution that lasts only for 2 years, knowing that after 2 years I'm going to be creating something else.
Guru, that's a good point. I just actually got a buddy of mine, BlackBerry, messaged me that exact topic, and you're right. I mean, it does change quicker than you think. Pass that mic over to Rob. So, the most unreliable piece of my friend's technology environment is not the servers and it's not the wide area network. It is the people. They do crazy stuff. They press weird buttons. It's amazing how well they QA your app after you've released it. Will there be a day, from somebody that has a device that tells everything about everything, will there be a day where we can start taking some of that unreliability out of the supply chain?
Certainly, excuse me, John, there's a growing trend toward that. Humans naturally make errors. They might be a bad day or the other factors influencing it. And some people don't realize, but it can get expensive as well. I did a project for the Postal Service where they went on a 3-cent barcode that they thought was most cost effective, but then they looked at the process and it was scanned by humans 20 times in the process, and they calculated that it cost them a nickel every time they scanned it. So that 3-cent label was actually a $2 and 3-cent label on that. And that's important when you're doing your analysis to take a look at that. The other factor, if you study lean manufacturing technology, data collection is considered a non-value added activity. And so certainly we want to get to the point where we can certainly reduce those non-value added activities. An example that we're doing in the supply chain with transportation, currently when an ocean container is loaded on a chassis, they usually have people record the fact that it was on the chassis and they're leasing the chassis, and so they start the billing for that and they manually fill out a piece of paper, and basically in a week it goes back to a group of 50 people that try to then reconcile the billing and so forth for the renting of the chassis and the ocean containers. And now we have solutions that we're rolling out where basically the chassis records the exact date and time that the container was loaded on it and automatically uploads that into the system and automatically does the billing on that. So you've cut out that whole 2 months of turn and the 50 people that had to go try to reconcile that. So yes.
To summarize, you're creating Skynet, is that what? To eliminate all humans? That's great, good. So I'm gonna solicit, by the way, that was a great question. I'm sorry I didn't give you even credit for that. I want another great question, and then if we don't get one, I'll let Todd ask his. So think about your question, and then I'm gonna give you guys something to think about while they're thinking about that question. So I'm gonna ask you a question when this one's done about what is the best tweak or fix to a supply chain you've seen in the past 5 years, and what boost in productivity or value did it give? So something really cool and interesting that you've seen, and it could be something you've done in your own shop or somebody you've helped somebody to do. So with that being said, who has a question? Yes. Thank goodness you saved this for Todd's question.
Maybe we'll get to that one too as well. When I think about supply chain and mobility, I think about a lot of information coming back. How well are we positioned to then consume that information, and then almost along the lines of saying when people are involved, making better decisions than what the people are actually doing. Maybe there's experienced people making decisions, but how are we consuming that information, or what position are we in the supply chain to consume it and make better decisions?
If we only had a business intelligence supply chain company here that could help us with that, in the back of the room right there. But yeah, so go ahead and let's answer that question.
I guess.
No, you don't get the answer. I want Guru to answer.
No, I think that's a classic dilemma that we're running into. When you talk about mobile solutions, going back to what we were talking about earlier, it's never going to be a system of record. It's going to be only a way of collecting data efficiently and making it easier for people who otherwise would not have had a chance to do that, or maybe they could have been doing using paper or whatever else, traditional ways. So you can improve on that. And you're absolutely right. So when you're looking at within the enterprise scenario, we got to look beyond the mobile applications and look at how we leverage that data, getting back into the enterprise. And it's still riding on the same bus that we already have built over the last whatever years. So that is not going to change. That's not going to take away your emphasis that you need to put on what you do with the data, how you leverage the data. So it goes back to BI or whatever else you're going to have in place. That is going to continue to stay, and that's going to stay forever, right?
Puga, I want to hear how getting that data closer to the person doing the work helps.
I think we approach these from what the scenario that I could think of is gathering, let's say, productivity metrics from a supervisor perspective. How do I gather this information and then make it readily available So, that's really, it's actionable for me from a supervisor perspective, right? You want to gather the data, but you also want to make sure it's presentable, through the tablet device or whatever this supervisor is carrying. It's really, architecting such that, you still want to have the data, not necessarily part of the core supply chain. Again, it depends, but still want to make it, easily retrievable from a supervisor perspective, right? That's how we do it, yeah.
Awesome. Brad, you probably have a ton of examples of this, right?
Yeah, something popped in my mind. This is not the most elegant or exciting space, but you think about a fundamental activity in any kind of place that carries inventory is the cycle count, the dreaded, cycle count or physical inventory, right? And so in our, big DCs, we're counting 50 to 100 items a day or whatever it is. You divide up your SKUs and you count them. And the old way that was done is you went to the printer or whatever and you printed out the blind count sheet, you walked the floor and you counted, and then you went back and keyed it in and it went brrr and it told you were wrong, right? Anybody got a guess on how often when you enter it wrong, what percentage of the time is it really wrong versus you counted wrong? Anybody got a sense of that?
90.
Well, it's actually, we think it's half the time. It's significant. I don't know if it's 9, maybe it's 9. You've got some really bad counters. But the point of that whole process is just ridiculous, right? Back and forth, and you got to go count it again and try again. So we put, in fact, we did it with the old technology. We just put a smarter transaction on a mobile tablet, and you go out there and you have a blind counter, and you type it in, and it says you're wrong right then and there. And you get another chance. So you count it again, and if you're wrong again and you agree, then it's probably you've got a shrink problem or whatever else. If you bungled the count twice, we have other ways real time instead of just eliminated that whole set of loops.
We got that to 100%. We put what number you're looking for, and then what you can put. And amazingly, inventory's got
Shrink went to 0.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. So, okay, keep thinking about the most interesting supply chain tweak or fix or whatever, and I'm going to let Todd ask whatever the incredibly compelling, we built up to this moment, it's the best question ever question. Go ahead, Todd, no pressure.
I'll try. So to quote all of you, the best ROI is in the mobility space. You've got to react. Time to market is key. It's got to be real time. There's a short attention span. It's now an expectation to get this information now. And by the way, there's no need to rip and replace what we've currently got, right? So the question is this, so what and who cares? What is real value of solving this problem? What items specifically do you need to measure throughout the supply chain? And who would want to have access to that information to create a true return on your investment?
Can I answer that?
I think what has happened is, it's all about, it's not about, hey, who cares? It's about, staying relevant, right? If I go to Nordstrom and if I don't find the product in the store, they are, let's say, I want to buy a shoe and I like that shoe very much, but they don't have that in stock and I want to place an order, they will ship it for you for free to your home. So that's the level of customer service that's set. So that's the, hey, Nordstrom is doing that. Then Williams-Sonoma comes in, And so that's the expectation has been set by Nordstrom, and then everybody is trying to follow it. So, now, do you want to be in business? Do you want to, win the sale, or do you want to, hey, who cares, right? You're forced to do it. You just have to do it. Everybody else is doing it. So, if you want to stay relevant and if you want to, be in the market, you want people to talk about your product, the store experience, whatever you folks, of course, Walmart wouldn't do it because, Walmart is always low prices, right? So what is the core mantra of your business that you want to stand by? Whereas Williams-Sonoma, Pottery Barn, Restoration Hardware, they sell a couch for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. So when a customer, that's expecting, coming to buy such a couch, the experience that I want to give is completely different, right? So it depends on where you're playing, what market you're playing. So when your competitors are doing it, when McDonald's Beyond is doing this, they give this coupon every month or every 15 days. There is a text message that comes, and you can use that coupon and get a deal from their store. So that is what your competitors are doing. Then, how do you stay relevant, right? What is that you want to do to, make customers remember you guys? So that's what we are seeing. We deal with a lot of retailers, and, if I have to, and e-commerce, it creates a, what do you call, avalanche effect, right? So now what happens is all these retailers, they have their e-commerce operation, and there are a lot of companies that are only e-commerce. Amazon, right? Amazon is going to, for all these Prime customers, they did a fantastic sale. So those are the things that are happening. So we, if I sit here and why do I care, that's going to, you're going to stop being relevant in the marketplace. So that's why it's important that, you folks have to do it. One another example is 3PL logistics. They are being asked by their customers, hey, we want to provide what Amazon provides to their customers, for our customers. How can you help us do that? So then, when they have this latest technology, this is a differentiation for them. Why should, you guys need to give the business to us, not our competitors, because we have this latest technology and we can, meet your service level requirements. And we can, that's what everybody's trying to do. There are companies coming in, California. All they do is, hey, whatever Amazon does for their customers, we can do it for your customers. So then we got to wake up and think, hey, do I want to stay relevant, or how do I make the experience memorable based on whatever core mantra that we focus on with the business.
All right, pass the mic down to Rob. I'm going to ask that was okay, Todd, it was fine. I like the style points of quoting back and everything, well done. You put something into it, so A for effort on that one. Okay, Rob, I want that awesome question that I had, which is, what is the most interesting, cool, compelling, cool from a creative value, not just, hey, it was neat, that you've seen lately? This is kind of like lightning round because we're running out of time, so 30 seconds, just like, boom, this was incredible.
So I'll go back to the cattle or beef supply chain that I mentioned earlier in that. So we're currently doing a project for Homeland Defense on safety and security of the beef supply chain. And by putting an ear tag on the beef cattle, we're actually able to predict health issues 3 days before the rancher can spot it. And we know every time he eats, every time he drinks. I mentioned the drone thing. When they're out grazing on the free range, excuse me, we can fly a drone over and geo-mark where they are, and they'll actually report the health status up to them. And so I think that's sort of
Okay,
the person that's coming.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, Guru, what you got? That's a tough one, by the way, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, who can compete with cows? And
I was gonna say let's move on. Okay, all right, yeah.
is my time done?
No, yeah.
No, mobility is all about what we have seen: real-time visibility, efficiencies, and customer service. At the core, everything is driven in the mobility. What is happening in mobility is driven by the customer, consumer, whoever the customer is, whether it's internal employees or your external partners or your end consumer. So we work with a multi-billion-dollar agriculture products manufacturer. They work with 250 carriers within US to ship their products to their end farmers or dealers or retailers. So all of these carriers, they have no connection to the shipper per se, but the end consumer sees them as the company itself. So they had no way of figuring out what is going on in terms of delivery, who's delivering what, when, how, and whatnot. So using our mobile solution that we have built today, irrespective of who the end driver across the country that's delivering your product to their end customer, they can get a real-time survey of what is happening. And we have seen instances, in this particular example, the customer satisfaction rate going from 80% to 98% within 6 months of implementing this solution. Have you ever heard of such an ROI in any traditional solution happening within 6 months? And that is what is mobility bringing to us today.
That's awesome. But that's not fair because you can't do a customer sat score for cows. So not fair. All right. Okay. So lightning round, Puga, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. I think from my perspective, my passion is supply chain. I mean, within the four walls of the warehouse. I think of course, mobile is definitely one of the interesting things that's happening. I think the QR robots, voice has been there for quite some time, but it's maturing. But the QR robots has been pretty cool for me. And I think if you can do something similar with the drones, that'll be even cooler.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. All right, Brad, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to mention something that we did ourselves that I think to this day is still the coolest mobile app. Happy to demo it to anybody. We did some ride-alongs with these folks that we call field managers in one of our construction businesses that does turnkey flooring and countertop installations. And they had to drive to the office every morning, which is maybe 30 or 40 miles, download a bunch of stuff from SAP, update their paper files in their trunk, get their schedules, and head out to the job sites all day long, maybe 10 or 20 of these sites. Spend all day, as you can imagine, on the phone with inside sales. The stuff's not here. Where's my stuff? Faxing forms, you name it. We built an app called Field Track. It was our first big mobility exploration. Started in 2012, and it's still going strong today. It's amazing. It integrates SAP scheduling and bill of materials and project systems, so they have at a glance their schedule, material status. It integrated our document imaging system so they can both collect signatures on forms, put them away, call them back, call up blueprints and the like. And we basically built an app that encompassed the entire experience of this particular individual's role, and we are certain that it improved the productivity by 20% across a population of over 100 people. And it's been really, really, and it, honestly, at the end of the day, it didn't cost all that much to do, and it was a marquee project to attract and retain key talent also.
That's awesome. That's
I
great.
have a question on that. So
Yes.
you guys are developing a lot of mobility. How do you mitigate risk when you're implementing something like that across your organization to make sure that the technology is supported on the back end, that you don't have any flaws or breakdowns in the system?
And
People rely on it?
let me couple that with the next question I was going to ask, which I want Brad to answer, and then we're going to do a closeout question, and then we have some fun stuff. So I'm going to take your question because one of our event co-chairs is Gary, and based upon my notes of questions to ask, it's incredibly obvious that he's an event co-chair because one of the self-serving questions that he added on there is, I'm just kidding, not really, and how, and I just want a CIO's perspective on this, how important is mobile device management, the ability to secure, update, deploy, how important is that to you? Because there are obviously things that you're going to want to innovate on, but more importantly, fix bugs, etc. So I'm going to ask you that question, and then I have an incredible question to close things out. So go ahead, Brad.
So I think, first of all, mobile device management and good mobile device management are table stakes. I mean, you got to put that in place. We happen to use AirWatch. I'm happy to talk about it.
But there's also something like Mass 360.
Yes, there are. Sorry, Gary. Paid endorsement there for VMware company. So you got to have that, and you also have to have, because you're going to authenticate. That's a challenging thing in mobile when you're going to front end a bunch of back end apps. You got to handle some sort of either tokenized or other two-factor authentication mechanisms. Try to get away from VPN and the like. And the various mobile device management platforms can help you in this space, or you can use other kinds of technologies in the middle, so you can keep the transactions encrypted and secure. And then, of course, you got to do your diligence on the back end with service monitoring and uptime and the like. Good news is mobile apps, as someone said, they're not generally a book of record, so you have a little bit more leeway in terms of app behavior, if you will, than you would on an ERP system. So you get away with a little bit more looseness there, I would say.
Yeah, okay, good. So 2 out of 2 CIOs agree that mobile device management is very important, and to the extent somebody is standing in this room sells that, that's good to know, right?
See Gary after the meeting.
All right, good. So, but I do agree. I mean, I always say that having mobile device management is like having brakes in a car. You have brakes in a car to go faster, not go slower. You got to drive really slow when you don't have brakes. So having that allows you to go faster, innovate more. So my closeout question, give it about 30 seconds to a minute. May not be fair to a couple of you because you may have already shared this, but looking ahead 5 years, in the year 2020, see what I'm doing there with 2020 vision and all that. Looking ahead 5 years, what do you see is the most compelling things we're going to see in the year 2020 when it comes to supply chain and mobility? You can pass it along and then come back to you.
Yeah.
I think what we see is, of course, focus on the pain and focus on the problem that needs to be solved, not just doing something for the sake of technology. I think what our customers are primarily focused on, making better engagement with the employees. What we see is millennials, we get much better engagement with millennials with our products. And if we keep a device, a conventional device versus our device, millennials will pick up our device and work. That's what they prefer. And the next trend is gamification. It's basically in an operation setting when you're doing a job. People know, hey, there are labor metrics that are being measured to keep me productive. So they are like, okay, I gotta not walk around and just not have any idle times or travel times. When it's a gamification is basically doing all this in a tournament setting. I have this, in an example that John mentioned, hey, if I have 17 distribution centers all over the US, and if I have similar picking departments picking similar products, how about comparing metrics across all these different picking departments across the 17 distribution centers, or even within this one distribution center, how about comparing metrics between picking and let's say shipping or polling or whatever. Of course, it has to be comparable. So gamification is one opportunity that's coming, that could potentially come up in the future, because now you have a friendly environment where everybody's not just doing a work, in a competitive scenario, fighting scenario, and at the end of the day, hey, whoever wins, let's go for a pizza party. And that also, something like that.
Guru, 2020, what do you see?
Sure. Knowing supply chain for the last 20 plus years, I don't want to really bet on any single technology that I would say, is going to change this whole environment that we work in. If it has not changed in the last 20 plus years, it's not going to change in the next 5 years. But it's going to be a combination of everything that's happening today: mobile devices, smart wearables, IoT, M2M, beacon. It's going to be a combination of all the technologies put together, and making use of those technology is in the relevant areas. But what is very important, I think, as enterprises, we need to be focusing on is, are we ready to leverage not only the technology that's there in front of us today, but what might be coming down the line tomorrow, next week, next month. So for that, we need to build today, mobility is entering mainstream within the enterprise. So again, mobility takes different variations, different forms, depending on what you are looking at. So as an enterprise, I would rather focus on creating an enterprise-wide mobile framework that can cater to any kind of technology that is going to be coming down the road, whether it's IoT or M2M or what have you.
Awesome, very good. Now you've already, Rob, said drones, so you can't use that one. It needs to be like something super duper.
Well, I'll pick another one since I noticed a partner from Maroon Networks walked in. So they're introducing basically a Wi-Fi that they call T-Fi, which is telemetry Wi-Fi. And that really helps a separate coexisting part that really moves all the data along in a very secure manner and doesn't commingle with the Wi-Fi systems that might compromise an enterprise. So that's one aspect. The second thing I think we're going to see, there's a lot of really interesting research going on locally at Georgia Tech and other leading institutions, and that's for getting rid of the battery. So you have data collection devices that will be able to energy harvest and create their power from the radio waves around or other activities. And once we can get the battery out of the way, then we can get long-term infrastructure that is permanent and reliable.
Not that this is a competition, that might be the winner, Brad. Brad, you got, no pressure, but that might have been the winner, just saying.
Yeah, mine's a lot more kind of mundane. I think mobile and web are going to basically collapse into one thing anymore. Of course, you're really kind of writing web apps that mobilize really easily. I think it might get abstracted even more than that to where whatever UI you're in front of, whether it's a TV or a wall or your refrigerator or your watch, you're going to expect and get the same kind of functionality because the technology is making that easier and easier to do. One thing that I think is going to be key, we have a very in our business, I don't think we're unique. We have an aging workforce. There's a lot of people about to retire that carry a lot of the knowledge that we require to be successful. So we're going to start thinking about mobility as a solution to allow people to move into retirement but remain available as experts to kind of contribute back to the business. And I think that's a neat frontier that I really want to explore in the next couple of years.
Awesome. I was convinced when you said aging workforce that you were going with exoskeleton powered by augmented reality. I was going to give you the win on the exoskeleton, but no.
We can rent them.